was wondering how an entire social network could be taken offline in moments, as well as the curious timing, so close to the testimony of a company whistleblower. Here's an excerpt from a video where Professor Stephen Bagley of the University of Nottingham School of Computer Science in the UK explains what happened.
So when it moves, it's changing the route to get between two nodes. When it flashes, it disappears. And then there we are, that's it gone. And the world is free of Facebook.
If a tree falls, what is it? If somebody takes a photo of a tree on Instagram.
Does the tree exist? Well, no one knows because no one's seen the photo.
What are they going to be saying in Silicon Valley this morning?
I'm not sure we can put that on a family-friendly channel. Once upon a time, not so long ago, there was a little website and its name was Facebook. And then it stopped.
It ceased to be.
It ceased to be, took along Instagram and WhatsApp with it. And so a bit of excitement for those network nerds last night as we watched Facebook disconnect from the internet. That Facebook know what they're doing when it comes to networking. They're designing their own gear, they're designing their own switches, their own routers, they're writing their own operating systems on top of Linux to run these things. They're not some fly-by-night operation that don't know what they're doing here. The thing that's probably happened here is that someone's had a bad day at work, they've pushed something up to the servers and to the switches and things, and it just didn't work. And normally when you do that, you get a slight error message. Someone yesterday probably pushed the wrong button and brought down the whole of Zuckerberg's empire. What was interesting about it from a networking point of view is just exactly what happened. This wasn't a case of you couldn't access the website, it wasn't responding, but the computers were still there. Facebook literally managed to disconnect themselves from the internet. If we run back in time, we can get to around 3 o'clock GMT. What we've got here is the network where Facebook's DNS server is. So DNS is a system which takes the name facebook.com and converts it to the IP address that Facebook uses. What we see happening is quite interesting, and it's actually a really good example of how the internet can cope with disruption, because if we just scroll forward in time, we can see that as things start to happen, we get to this point where everything starts to reroute, and rather than going directly to Facebook, you can start to see it all is going to Cogent and Telia. And then as we go a bit further on, we suddenly see that everything starts to disappear until you get to a point, there we are, where there's nothing connected to Facebook except this one machine down here, this one network. And suddenly Facebook's network, the network that all Facebook's computers are on, is completely disconnected from the internet.
I like that he sounded just as excited as some of my friends do when they talk about their fantasy football picks.
all in.
I am going to go ahead and post that video. The way it explained was Facebook is on its own server. It doesn't use Microsoft or Apple or one of those. Maybe someone inputted something incorrectly and that just shut down the entire website along with Instagram and WhatsApp. And, they made it sound like an accident, but I'm not wondering, and this brings out the conspiracy theorist in me, I'm not wondering if that was something where it was done maybe deliberately to take away from the fact that their whistleblower was saying that they were doing all these horrific things.
Seems like that would draw more attention to it, but also maybe remind people of how much they love it and miss it. It's a very passive, it's like the passive aggressive mom who's like, okay, well, fine. Let's just see what happens when I stop doing your laundry then.
Right. Because to what end? Like, she was still going to blow that whistle, and it didn't, all the information was already out and about. Like, nobody, she didn't need anything from them anymore. Like, I don't really know to what end. Like, unless it was, like a passive aggressive sort of thing.
And suddenly we're thankful for having Facebook back once it does come back.
I like to think there was just some clueless CEO who forced somebody to give him a tour of the server room and then accidentally just flipped the switch that shuts the whole thing off and walked out of there.
An intern.
Yeah, tripped over the one cord that plugs in the entire server net. I don't know what these words are.
I just killed the internet.
Right.
We can all dream of doing that.
It's always the intern.